Hi, in this tutorial we will continue with our review on matrices. So for this I just will make a reference to this website that has the information that we were reviewing last time. So gives the definition of the matrix, it tells you about the size, it gives you an example about addition and subtraction. So this is an example that they have with a scalar multiplication, the product of two matrices. So now I like it the way that they have it because I mean they have it with letters. So in general, so for example, this a comma b is a matrix of size 1 by 2 that is multiplying a 2 by 2. So the answer is another matrix of, so that's another 1 by 2. And here is an example of a product. Now there are concepts here that I also want you to study. So um, here is the determinant. Is making the example of determinant for a matrix of 2 by size 2 by 2. Now we did not talk about the identity matrix, but I want you also to check on that. So the identity matrix is the one that has all ones on the what they call the main diagonal, and zeros so anywhere else. And one of the properties of that identity matrix is when you multiply matrix, I mean it does possible with an identity, then it is not giving you, I mean you get this the other matrix. Like for example here you multiply matrix A by I, which is the identity of I by A, then you get A. So that's what we call identity. So it's not doing anything in that case. And this is illustrating the example. Now the last concept that I want you to study is the concept of the inverse. Now if you notice, we say that some of the operations that we can have with matrices are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and maybe most of you will say, well, now it's coming division. There is no division. The division is not defined in matrices. Something that kind of similar is the inverse of a matrix, and then it's related with the idea of the identity. So when you multiply a matrix by the identity, you get that matrix, right? The matrix doesn't change. Now the inverse of a matrix, that is kind of complex the way that you get it. When you multiply a matrix by its inverse, you get the identity. So it's kind of like dividing A by A, and the identity is kind of like number 1, then you get a 1, the unit. So the way that we have the inverse in a 2 by 2 is by changing the order of the elements. You see it's a A, B, C, D. Look at how they exchange or swap the A and the D, the elements in the diagonal, and then the other elements that were not swap, they were not switch or change, but they change the signs, and it's divided by determinant. And then here is just a proof that by doing that you will get the identity. Maybe later we study how we get the inverse for another matrix that is going to be size, bigger size. Now if you remember the determinant, we can only get it from a square matrix. Then it's going to be the same for the inverse. We're only going to have inverse from a square matrix. And you also notice the identity also has to be in a square matrix to be able to have a main diagonal. Otherwise we don't have a main diagonal in the matrix. Okay, so I will ask you to study some exercises from this website.